A little boy stood alone on a busy street corner, tears streaming down his face, his small hands shaking as cars rushed past like they didn't even see him. People walked by, some glanced for a second, then kept moving. No one stopped. No one cared. Except one man, a man everyone else had already decided didn't matter. Before we begin, if you love emotional stories that restore your faith in humanity, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life. It was a cold afternoon in late November. The kind of cold that creeps into your bones and makes you wish you were anywhere but outside. The streets of a small American city were crowded, people rushing to get home before the evening chill set in. Near a bus stop sat a homeless man named Daniel. His clothes were worn and layered, his beard untrimmed, and his shoes looked like they had seen too many winters. Most people passed him without a second glance. To them, he was just another invisible part of the street. Daniel wasn't asking for money that day. He simply sat quietly, watching people go by, his tired eyes filled with a kind of quiet understanding. He had seen it all: kindness, cruelty, indifference. And most days, indifference hurt the most. That's when he heard it. A soft cry at first, almost lost in the noise of traffic. Then louder. A child's voice, trembling with fear. Daniel slowly turned his head and saw a little boy standing near the corner of the street. He looked no older than 6. His backpack hung loosely from one shoulder, and his face was red from crying. People walked right past him. Daniel frowned. Something didn't feel right. He stood up, his joints stiff from sitting too long, and walked toward the boy. A few pedestrians glanced at him suspiciously as he approached. A homeless man going toward a child made people uncomfortable. But no one stepped in. "Hey there," Daniel said gently, keeping a safe distance so he wouldn't scare him. "You okay, buddy?" The boy looked up, startled. His eyes were wide, filled with panic. I can't find my mom," he said, his voice breaking. Daniel's heart sank. "All right," he said softly, crouching down to the boy's level. "It's okay. We're gonna figure this out together. What's your name?" "Ethan," the boy sniffled. "That's a strong name," Daniel said with a small smile. "I'm Daniel." Ethan hesitated for a moment, then wiped his tears with the sleeve of his jacket. "She was right here," Ethan said, pointing to the sidewalk. "We were walking, and I stopped to look at something, and when I turned around, she was gone." Daniel looked around carefully. The crowd was thick, people moving quickly, no one paying attention. "Okay," Daniel said calmly. "First thing, don't worry. Parents don't just disappear. She's probably looking for you right now." Ethan nodded, but his lip trembled again. Daniel took off his old jacket and gently placed it over Ethan's shoulders. "You're cold," he said. "Here, take this." Ethan looked surprised. "But, won't you be cold?" Daniel smiled. "I've been colder." For the first time, Ethan gave a tiny, uncertain smile. Daniel stood up and looked around again. "All right, we need to stay right here where your mom can find you. But we'll also ask for help." He raised his hand, trying to get the attention of people passing by. "Excuse me," he called out. "This kid's lost, can someone help us find his mother?" A few people slowed down, but most kept walking. One woman gave Daniel a suspicious look and pulled her child closer as she passed. Daniel felt that familiar sting. People didn't trust him. To them, he wasn't someone helping a child, he was a problem. But he didn't let that stop him. He turned back to Ethan. "Hey, do you remember your mom's phone number?" Ethan shook his head. "That's okay," Daniel said. "Do you remember where you were going?" "We were going to the mall," Ethan said quietly. Daniel nodded. "Good. That helps." Just then, a police car slowly pulled up to the curb. Someone must have finally called it in. Two officers stepped out. One of them immediately looked at Daniel with suspicion. "What's going on here?" the officer asked sharply. Daniel raised his hand slightly, calm and steady. "The boy's lost. I found him crying over there. I've just been trying to help." The officer looked at Ethan. "Is that true?" Ethan nodded quickly. "He helped me. He gave me his jacket." The officer's expression softened just a little. "All right," he said. "We'll take it from here." Daniel stepped back, not wanting to cause any trouble. He had done what he could. As the officers spoke to Ethan and called in a report, a woman came running down the sidewalk, her face filled with panic. "Ethan," she screamed. Ethan turned and his face lit up. "Mom." They ran toward each other and embraced tightly. The woman held him like she would never let go again. "I was so scared," she said, her voice shaking. "I turned around and you were gone." "I was scared too," Ethan said. "But he helped me." He pointed at Daniel. The woman looked up, her eyes meeting Daniel's for the first time. She saw his worn clothes, his tired face, and something else. Kindness. She smiled softly, but there were tears in her eyes. "You deserve more than that," she said. Daniel gave a small nod and turned to leave, blending back into the crowd like he always did. But the story didn't end there. One of the officers had been watching everything closely. Something about Daniel seemed different. Later that evening, the officer ran a quick background check out of curiosity. What he found shocked him. Daniel wasn't just a homeless man. Years ago, he had been a respected school teacher. A man known for helping children, for going above and beyond to make sure no child felt alone. But after a series of personal tragedies, losing his wife, falling into debt, and eventually losing his home, his life had unraveled. Yet even after everything, he hadn't lost his kindness. The next day, the story spread. The mother shared what happened on social media, describing how a homeless man had protected her son when no one else stopped. People were moved. They wanted to find Daniel. Within days, volunteers searched the area until they finally found him sitting at the same bus stop. But this time, something was different. People didn't walk past him. They stopped. They talked. They listened. The same man who had been invisible was now seen. The community came together. They raised money, helped him find temporary housing, and even connected him with a local school that needed a substitute teacher. When Daniel walked into that classroom for the first time in years, he smiled. Because he wasn't just getting a job. He was getting his life back. And all of it started with a simple act of kindness. Helping a crying child. In a world where people are often too busy too distracted, or too doubtful to stop and help, Daniel chose to care. He didn't ask what he would get in return. He didn't worry about what people would think. He just did what was right. And that one moment changed everything, not just for Ethan, not just for Daniel, but for everyone who heard the story. Because it reminded them of something powerful. Kindness doesn't require wealth, status, or perfect circumstances. Sometimes, the people with the least still give the most. So the next time you see someone in need, pause. Look. Care. Because you never know. That small act of kindness might be the moment that changes a life, or even your own. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little reminder that kindness still exists.